Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies came out 10 years ago when I was 13, and this was and still is my favorite Call of Duty Zombies game of all time. This was also my first COD Zombies game where I completed all the Easter eggs in it, except the Revelations Easter egg. Today I decided to relive 2015 to 2016, but make it harder, as I gave myself only 8 hours to complete Black Ops 3 Zombies. So we start off in the beautiful morgue city of Shadows of Evil, where we're greeted with this raunchy scene, which I swear my parents would always come in and check on me, right as this was on the screen. I loaded into the map, got a free 500 points from some guy's laundry ticket, unlocked the first area with beast mode, killed all but one zombie, grabbed the summoning key, the lawyer's pen, and brought these giant red glowing keeper boys up with me to the ritual area. You'll see why I did that in a second. And I started the ritual. And in case you've been living under a rock and don't know, most Call of Duty Zombies maps have a secret main quest Easter egg where you have to find secret steps and complete all of them. Then it will normally, in more modern zombies, end with a boss fight where once completed, you'll get an achievement and an ending story cutscene. And as I've never done the Revelations Easter egg and we're on a time crunch, this was going to be interesting. It's also funny how I used to think that the rituals were pretty hard when the game first came out, and I remember downing all the time during them, whereas now, most of the time, I don't even get hit during them. But the ritual finished with everyone's favorite scarring scream. I said what's up to the Shadow Man, picked up the first gummy worm, and was on to my next ritual. But first, in order for me to have enough points to open up the next 2 doors and complete another ritual in round 1, I had to kill some more zombies. See, when you don't kill the keepers after you pick up the ritual piece and you bring them into the ritual, afterwards they spawn as zombies, allowing you to get more points from killing them, which allows you to open up the next 2 doors and then to do more rituals earlier on in the rounds. See, in this challenge I wanted to go fast, obviously to beat the timer we set, but not too rushed that it causes me to die out, meaning we add on heaps of unnecessary time in our challenge. But next I unlocked the following ritual area, just getting the gate last second as usual for this one. Went to peep show room number 1, did the ritual, killed Mama Magua, repeated the same thing at peep show room number 2, had to end the round as beast mode was having a nap, did the 4th ritual, picked up the last gummy worm, and placed the gummy worms above these bowls, did the hee-haw ritual, and bang. Pap was open and the big squid tentacle monster was in the sky, which means we are almost ready to start our first Easter egg step. But before starting the Easter egg, I used my immolation Gobblegums to get set up with a dingo and ICR. Then I went over to the tram to get the sword, as you need it in order to have the next Easter egg step spawn in, which you'll see in a second. So to get the sword, I had to catch the tram across the map and look at these mysterious symbols, which one of my favorite little niche things about this map was having a fun way to remember these symbols. This one is bread, this one is a cheese stick, and this one is a double cheese stick. So my code was a double cheese stick sandwich, 1 bread, and 2 double cheese sticks. I put the code in, got my egg, filled it up around the map, and picked up my sword. Then I went to this ghost keeper boy to receive my upgraded egg, killed the Maguas to upgrade the egg, and after 4 rounds I was fully ready for the Easter egg. The first thing I had to do was hold X on this levitating book that randomly appears on the floor, and somehow, don't ask me why, it makes this flag spawn underground. I then took the flag to the sparky spots on the ground and called in the Civil Protect to help me out as I defended it from endless meatballs and the Shadow Man's bees. I then took it to the second spot for the flag to be done, gave it to the ghost keeper boy to make him a real keeper, and repeated this 4 times around the map. After that, I was ready to start the boss fight, which is actually not much of a boss fight and is nowhere near as hard as the other boss fights coming up in this video, as all you really need is a death machine power up and you can complete it in about 5 seconds, as I did. Now, normally you can't do anything more from here on if you don't have 4 players, as you need 4 players to complete the Easter egg. But I downloaded this mod that allows you to do the final step in solo. So I had to kill some Magwas, fill up the beast mode, and also cleanse when this curse thing came up on my screen. Then I shocked the tram lines, turning them the best kind of neon blue. Then had to kill some more Magwas to fill up another beast mode, which took me way longer than it should have. Called the tram to kill the giant mutant gummy worm, and shocked these 3 keepers, and hello Richtofen, the first Easter egg was complete in just over 1 hour. With 5 maps to follow and less than 7 hours to do them, we headed straight into map number 2, which was the Giant, where Richtofen confronts a slightly more crazy version of himself, then pretty epically shoots himself in the head. Now, the Giant Easter egg is much shorter and much more simple than all of the others in this game. In order to do it, we just needed to pap a gun and open a few doors, and I was able to get a papped gun on round 2 by getting the wall power Gobblegum and grabbing the RK5 and hitting the first spot, which is on these pillars to start the Easter egg.
Let's play hide and seek.
This hide and seek game didn't last long, as I hit this one,
Hey, you found one.
this one,
You found another one.
and finally this one.
The beacon is lit. I know where and when you are.
The beacon was lit after only 6 minutes, and with that done, now we move to map number 3, Der Eisendrache. We start off for DE with something to do with a floodgate and load into the amazing rocket launch. I then did the usual customs of 2025 Black Ops 3 gameplay by getting an instant 7k from raindrops, followed by a perkaholic, then a shopping free to open up the map, all before the end of round 2. I filled up the dragons with probably not so good tasting but apparently satisfying zombie bodies, grabbed the bow, and started to make the upgrade of, yep, you guessed it, the void bow. Not really. Big shock, I did the lightning bow quest. Shot 3 fires, ran around the low grav room, filled up this lamp sparky thing, failed miserably multiple times at hitting this one, got the rocket test Ragnarok Park while I was there though, did the next lamp sparky thing, and used the jump pad to get across and hit this one easily so I didn't have to walk over and over again a long way if I missed it. Did the last one, grabbed my reforged bow, filled up the souls, and bang. Bow is made and the Easter egg is ready to be started. So in order to do the first step, I swapped back to the original bow, started the epic growly noise wisp step, shot the wisps, got another epic noise telling me I completed it, traveled back in time, picked up the fuses, got the code OLO, which I'll explain later, killed the Panzer, placed the fuses in, switched the death ray to protect, and input my code, which opened up the safe, which gave me the keycard and these 2 thingos. So I put the thingos in, switched the death ray back to destroy, and went down to the rocket test for Simon Says. Now the best way I remember these symbols are O for the circle, R for the rocket looking thing, D for that thing, and L for the lightning. I then proceeded to repeat ORDL, ORDL in my head for the next 60 seconds as I completed it, and accidentally killed the zombie with my electric cherry, which I was pretty annoyed about as I thought it would reset my Simon Says thing and I'd have to go back in time again, but thankfully it didn't. But then the rocket test decided to fire right at the end of my Simon Says. So I waited to the last second to try and get it done and just made it in before getting set on fire. I checked and thankfully I had completed it in time, and I started the second Simon Says, heard this noise halfway through, which freaked me out until I realized that it was just the second wisp step timing out. I finished charging the second death ray and we somehow shot Dempsey out of the sky. How he was even there, you know, right in this spot, I don't know. But we went back in time again, held X on this book, which somehow opens up this thing with a slab on it. I placed the slab into its rightful spot and started the final step before everyone's favorite boss fight. I followed Brother Ghostkeeper around to these 4 spots to feed him some souls. He then became real Brother Keeper and got teleported to the moon, scared Dr. Groff, and brought back the MPD. I then got danger closest so the Panzer's super annoying shock charges don't hurt me, and bam, we entered the boss fight. I ran in circles a bit, placed my Ragnaroks, spammed the Keeper, took out some Panzers, and repeated 3 times. And my final placement of the Ragnaroks was a bit scary as it was too far away, and I thought Big Keeper Boy was gonna insta-shock and kill me, but it turns out he didn't, and it was actually a good placement. And after shooting him, Big Boy Brother Keeper was destroyed. I took the summoning key to the top, launched some rockets, and boom, Dr. Groff and the moon was destroyed. I don't really know why we had to blow up the entire moon just so we could take Dempsey's soul. Like, I don't think Richtofen thought about how much that's going to affect the ocean's waves, which apparently is controlled by the moon. But nonetheless, we completed the DE Easter egg just within an hour. And with the 3 quickest Easter eggs in this game now done, and with 5 hours and 58 minutes remaining, we were halfway through the maps. At this point, it was all going so well, but I was kind of nervous about the next 3 because unlike the others, I only have ever done the Zetsubou and GK Easter egg once and never done the Revelations Easter egg, which apparently takes ages, and if I die in the boss fight, that adds up a whole heap of times, so this was going to be interesting. We start off with Zet, with possibly the best and most memeable line in all of Zombies.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Japanese.
As the crew escape the hostage of the Japs and quickly grab the summoning key before the most important artifact that has all the power in the universe sinks to the bottom of the ocean. On round 2 in Zetsubou, I watched this majestic plane fly over, opened up most of the map with a shopping spree, checked out my trials, as you'll see why I need to do these later, grabbed the first skull for the first special weapon, and guarded it from these green mist zombies, which remind me of the Witches of Dathomir zombies from the Clone Wars show. Went to the next skull spot, which was marked with lots of bread and double cheese sticks, got annoyingly downed by the Dathomirian zombies, but completed the skull anyway. I opened up the bunker to get power on and killed this zombie with the orange mist before he turned into mutated Shrek.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Somebody once told me.
On round 3, I completed my first trial, which gave me a nice reward later, built the zombie shield, turned the power on by doing this infamous challenge, which I swear we all downed in during the first time we played this map. I stayed in the water for a bit longer to complete my second trial, went out here to get the last gas mask piece, and after doing a few laps, finally found it. I did my skull next to that area too while I was there. I captured and enslaved a little spider boy who was attracted to my purple mist, and I get the feeling that the lead developer on this map was a bit obsessed with different colored mists. Anyways, I extracted his purple spider juices for the first part for this wonder weapon, built the gas mask, unlocked Pack-a-Punch through getting these parts and draining the water. I then completed my first skull, went down into this dungeon area where the hardest thing about this challenge is when all the zombies spawn in and try and trap you down there once you've completed it. But I found the zombie which was glowing, and with some more green mist, I made these 2 things appear. You'll see what that did later. Completed my final trial. The first of my 3 rewards was an extra perk slot, but I decided to open the other 2 rewards in a bit as it will be more beneficial for me later, which you'll see. I went down into the depths of this cave, scared this wall into vanishing with my supernatural skull, grabbed my last KT4 part, and planted and watered this plant with rainbow water, which you'll see what that does later. Built the KT4 wonder weapon, got the map specific guns, the marshals from the box, and papped them in the death trap area that is the Pack-a-Punch spot on this map. Fought and killed Mama Spider and collected her tooth for keepsake. Got my final 2 rewards, a max ammo and a brekkie. which I didn't really need as I had the marshals. But anyways, the lightning then struck my shield and I hit this panel to allow me go down to pick up the vial from this fine gentleman, teleported to the secret GK Dragon Egg room for this cog, watered my plant a couple more times until it was fully grown, freaked out and panicked for a while because my KT4 wasn't being upgraded, and wasted a heap of time checking if I got the spider's tooth and the plant properly, until I found a Reddit post telling me Treyarch decided to put a second station in specifically for the Masamune. So I did that, then I had to plant these seeds and shoot them with the Masamune in the hopes of getting a giant bullet, which I'll need to use later for the last cog. But before we get to that one, I had to electrify my shield to get the second cog and knife over this platform to drop myself.
Reach my destination.
Great! On my second try, however, I got it, but then I realized I ended up losing my wonder weapon as it was in my mule kick spot, but luckily I got it back pretty quick from the box, opened up my plants after 3 rounds of watering, and got the big bullet. Remember that door that I opened up earlier? Well, that actually triggers this massive plane to fly over every once in a while. So I waited for it to fly in, shot it down, grabbed the last cog, placed it in, and bang, I was ready for the Zetsubou No Shima boss fight. Now this boss fight is pretty easy if you have the marshals or a good shotgun to take out the infinite mutated Shreks that spawn in. So I ran around, shot the big viney tree man's arms when his spores decided to take a peek, killed him, and then we find out that big viney tree man is actually another version of Takeo that had been experimented on by the Emperor, which sends our Takeo spinning, replicating that classic Mr. Krabs meme. And he ended up being older Takeo's Kashokaning, slicing his head off and jumping into the summoning key as we now head into our last map with 4 hours and 33 minutes left on the clock before we hit the uncharted territories of Revelation. We move to Gorod Krovi. Gorod starts the most epic intro cutscene in Zombies, mainly because of the song and the dragon. The crew find other Nikolai as drunk as ever in a massive mech suit, and they get saved by the Nazi dragon. Once again, I started the game with a perkaholic and opened up the map with a shopping free. Hit this trap, got my first trophy, you'll see what that does later. I then had to pick up the first code cylinder for the Nazi dragon platform, built the shield and protected the cone looking rocket ship thingo to give us one of 3 parts to allow us to fly to Pack-a-Punch. I got my second trophy shooting it out of Brody's hand, which I need to get 6 trophies total for a later Easter egg step. I got the next 2 parts, got some new guns with the immolation Gobblegum, took my first ride with the Nazi dragon, shot his egg and the random light which made this trophy appear in the toilet, placed down my egg and got the ray gun Mark IIIs, picked up my dragon egg after roasting it a few times, papped the Mark IIIs and started the lockdown for the dragon strike. I remember when first playing this map how I used to think the lockdown was really difficult, but I think it was mainly because the first few times I played, I would hit it as soon as I got there and I just wouldn't be prepared or set up, because with the Mark IIIs two-shotting the Manglers, it was really easy. I started to incubate my egg and for some reason had to kill a Valkyrie next to this vent in order for it to start blowing air. Like, I don't know why, I just couldn't have hit the on switch, but it is what it is, I guess. Next up, I had to find this stuck valve cylinder and use this random website made by Mr. Rufflewaffles.
Hi guys, Mr. Rufflewaffles here.
To know what numbers to put the valves on, and during that, I took it down. But I managed to complete it and once again was lucky enough to get a perkaholic as my next Gobblegum. I then had to input a secret code which had me feeling like Mr. Incredible. Got another bomb trophy, picked up my incubated egg, and got myself a little pet dragon, which you guys will see later. After getting all my trophies, I had to do a different challenge for each one. The first was the bomb step, where I had to defuse these things around the map before getting exploded. Next was the Valkyrie escort, where we had to take this lost little guy back home, just to shoot him on the step to complete the challenge. And during that, this happened. Great! Next we had to find Dr. Gersh in the form of a flashing orb around the map and shoot him. Then came the cone-looking rocket ship thingo, which was painfully slow as I had the undead man walking Gobblegum on. And when that was done, I sent my little pet dragon to go fetch. And the second last one was the Mangler one, who kept running away from me right as we got close to the end point. And the last and probably the easiest one was the keycard step, which is a time step. So I just kept one of the Manglers around chasing me for the whole timer until it was done, and I was now ready to enter the boss fight. So I grabbed the big bad boy PPSH from the box, papped it, and went on into the boss fight. I started the boss fight by helping free Nikolai by using the Iron Giant's laser and shot down and killed the dragon. Then Richtofen let him know he needed his soul in the summoning key, which, like all people would probably react, he wasn't too happy about. I popped the Idolize, which worked up until the last spot I needed to shoot, which didn't work for some reason, and I got shreked by Nikolai and needed to clutch up with no perks. But luckily I had one more Idolize, which I hit, and as he was shooting the wraps out, I got him. And then died after killing him. But we got the cutscene anyway, so it counts. Now being 5 hours in, we only have 3 hours left to beat the challenge, so if we end up dying in this run, we could be in some serious trouble, as once again, I have never done this Revelations Easter egg, so this was going to be interesting. We start off Revelations in the perfect world, all made by and thanks to the hard work of the Primus crew, with the children all safe in the house as the crew links up and reunites with Dr. Maxis, who gets possessed by the summoning key and unleashes the Shadow Man, who brings all his Apothicon broskies to tear up this perfect world. So I loaded in and watched the broski Apothicon suck up my Pack-a-Punch and fly off, as I started the Easter egg with shooting these tombs in this weird order, which activates the Easter egg for the map, and opening up the map with the shopping free, I had the great privilege of high-fiving the Apothicon midair. I quickly discovered when playing this map why so many people didn't and still don't like this Easter egg, as there is so many random steps that are pretty annoying and tedious and just weird, which you guys will see later. But apparently, according to the Easter egg guide I watched, in order to start the Easter egg, you need the little Arnies and the Apothicon servant. So I spent the next 25 minutes straight hitting the box with immolation and shopping freeze and even my own points before finally getting the Apothicon servant. Also during that time, I did a couple side quests like building the shield and doing the corruption engines, and I then had to shoot these blue rocks floating around in the sky to be able to upgrade my Apothicon servant. Then I trapped Broski Apothicon with the death ray from Eisendrache and went in him, shot his guts up and papped my guns. I then built the Keeper Protector and had to go around the map looking for a pointy rock on one of these jump pads, which I spent absolutely ages doing and looking for, and couldn't find it until I realized that it hadn't even spawned in yet, because apparently I hadn't done the tomb shooting thingo correct, which I clearly did, by the way. But then I did it again, activated the Easter egg, and I found the pointy rock thing, which he summoned for us, brought Keeper Protect over to it, and had to protect Keeper Protect as he did the oyo thing, which summoned for us a tape CD thing. And by this time we were onto round 16 already, which was not too bad, but the next step was to throw my Arnies into these holes, which I did a heap and kept missing, but I also kept having Samantha laugh at me.
Take my presence.
Until after 4 times of going in, getting a max ammo, either from the zombies or from the Gobblegum machine, I realized I needed to put the bloody CD tape thingo onto the radio first for this next step to work. Then I did that, went back in and continued to absolutely mess up this step over and over and over by missing the holes and throwing my arnies into the wrong ones for the next 50 minutes, taking me from round 16 to round 33 before I finally did it. Next was the bone disc step, where I did most of them until the boy Panzer Soldat decided to ruin my day twice. And this left us with 1 hour and 34 minutes to conquer the final map and succeed in beating Black Ops 3 Zombies in 8 hours. So this run started off similar, taking 23 minutes this time to get the Apothecon Servant. However, what followed this time was much better. We were able to do the next steps much quicker, finishing the little Arnie's second cog step on round 13 this time instead of 33. We did the bone step and got the last CD tape cog thing, lasered these rocks and brought Sophia back, followed her to the Kino teleporter and got the Chronorium out of the Origins Easter egg cutscene room. We then went around and got these eggs, filled them up with souls, and took their gummy worms, which were birthed outside of these eggs, to the very weird and random beeping spots where they were supposed to go. But what sucked was I didn't realize after getting Gummy Worm to his spot that I was supposed to pick up his symbol. Bad Easter egg guide instructions. So I ended up taking it down at the second one because he wouldn't leave me and go into his spot. I then took them all to the rest of their spot, and with 25 minutes left on the clock, I was ready to go into the Magua boss fight. And all we have to do after this boss fight is the Shadows of Evil style Shadow Man boss fight, and we have completed our challenge. So to start the Magua boss fight, you have to take note of these symbols and input them in the right order at the back. And this frustrated me so much because I knew the time was closing in and I messed this up 3 times because I didn't know the decoy symbols that are thrown in there that aren't actually one of these 4. So I kept getting it wrong, but after I figured that out, we had 15 minutes left, and this time I got the code right and started the Magua boss fight. I got stage 1 of 4 done, then stage 2 of 4 done, then stage 3, and on the final stage, I threw my Arnie and it didn't freaking work. So I had no jug and 2 Maguas to kill to save the whole run of this challenge. And the stupid void bowheads got me. They got me, boys. It was over, and with only 10 minutes remaining on the clock, I had failed. If you like this video, leave a like and check out this one where I attempted to beat all Shadows of Evil side Easter eggs in one game, and I'll see you boys later.